Hello, welcome to the Beyond the Questions podcast, because every great conversation starts with a question. We're having real conversations about life with life coaches, and we are anticipating another great episode. So get ready and let's get started.
Welcome back to Beyond the Questions. I'm your host today, Kellie Grutko. This time of year is loud, right? Everywhere you look, the pressure to reset, reinvent, and decide who you're going to be this year. So today, I want to do the opposite. So instead of talking about resolutions, I want to slow things down, talk about something quieter and a little more lasting. So conversations we're having with ourselves. So let me start here. When the noise of the new year, new goals fades, what do you notice yourself craving more of right now? So for me, it isn't motivation or clarity, it's permission. So permission to just kind of feel more human again and to listen instead of deciding. And honestly, permission to just let some questions go unanswered, right? And not trying to fix everything. So with these things in mind, I want to start, and I'll throw this question to each of you, but I'm going to start and have you each introduce yourselves if you don't mind. So Jason, you want to kick us off?
Sure. So I'm Jason Roton, founder of Jason Roton Coaching, life and leadership coaching for individuals and businesses, helping you align your actions to your values to live more true to who you really are. So that's what I'm all about. I think, what am I craving right now? I've been wrestling with this, and my answer is not quite as clean and polished as yours is, Kellie, but I think for me right now, I'm craving the right pace. And that's super vague, but I'm a pretty hard pusher. And there's something about just slowing down to make intentional steps forward. And that's what I'm craving, is this pace of life that allows me to be invested and fully present where I need to be, and to say goodbye or not right now to things that I don't feel fully invested or present in.
Awesome.
How about you, TQ?
Well, I'm TQ. I am one who runs TQ Coaching Solutions. And what we're really about is trying to help you if you've got some sort of vision that you have in mind, whether you're like an entrepreneur, creator, innovator, or you just got a vision that you've been trying to get to, but you've got that wall, that thing that keeps coming. You find yourself stuck. Maybe it's self-doubt, maybe it's fear, maybe it's inaction. Really looking forward to trying to help people break through that and get those dreams out there. And so that's what I do. What am I craving? I guess is the question. And I think I am craving a sense of really becoming fully who I am. I have a lot of times have these goals that are out there and forget to really kind of look inward and go, man, am I just doing stuff, or am I becoming the kind of person that is going after these goals? I mean, you know what I'm saying? And so I really want this personal growth. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. So.
Awesome. All right, Ericka, how about you?
Okay, well, first I just want to address the elephant in the room. So I can't remember if it was the last episode or the episode before, there was the question of what is my child getting as a pet? And for those of you, here's the answer. He got a snake. He's pretty cool. It's a ball python. And, I don't know, the three of you, I did bring a scarf if he's going to distract you, but I am going to be wearing him this episode. This is real life for me.
So your son got a pet and you got new jewelry.
Yes, living jewelry. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Yeah, it's my new necklace. Anyways, so I have a transformational coaching practice where I specialize in supporting women through life's most challenging seasons. And if you're a woman out there who is navigating relationship struggles, healing from betrayal trauma, or just feeling lost in a difficult chapter in your life, that is where I can step in and walk with you through that season. And to your question, Kellie, I think for me, what I'm craving the most is peace. Just the sense of an internal calm peace where I can just be.
Nice. Well, thank you all for sharing. So a little bit just about me, an intro. I am a midlife women's life and transition coach, and I focus on women that are just burnt out from professional life and trying to figure out what they want to do next at this stage of life, kind of their second act. So I work with a lot of women to figure that out, because sometimes it's hard when you've done the same thing for years and just really don't know where to go to. So my company is called Purposeful Pivot, and that's what I help women do, make a pivot. So with that, other than my craving of like chocolate cake or anything chocolate at the moment, we will move on to resolutions. So let's see, instead of resolutions, what is one conversation you want to have with yourself more often this year? And why do you think that conversation matters now to the group? So anybody wants to tackle that one, jump in.
I can jump in first. I think mine is listening to my gut and to just really what my body is trying to speak to me and tell me. And why this is important now is after betrayal and after being gaslit so much for such a long period of time, my intuition was off. And now, having gone through so much work and so much healing, I'm starting to recognize I can listen to my body and it is telling me the right thing and they're not lies and somebody else isn't coming at me like telling me, well, my reality is not real. So just trusting myself, listening to my body as I continue to move forward in life.
That's good. I can see how that could really kind of get at you. So thank you for sharing that, Ericka.
Yeah, you're welcome. What about you, TQ?
I think the conversation that I want to have with myself, that's the question, right? Make sure that I'm on the same page with everybody.
Yep, one conversation.
Yeah. Well, it kind of stems back to what you asked what we were craving for. I want to be able to have the conversation of, Twan, who are you becoming? What does it look like for you as I go throughout the year and I'm looking over the next 3 months or 6 months or whatever the case may be? I'm really kind of trying to figure out, man, who am I becoming? Am I moving the mark in myself or am I just moving the mark in what I do?
I love that tension, TQ, between be and do. So that idea that who we are really is what shapes what we do, right? I mean, and I think that's similar to the conversation I'm having with myself. I'm thinking a lot about, these are the things that really matter to me. These are the things that I'm really passionate about. They're the things I feel like I've been uniquely gifted or called to do. And in that space, just realizing that I can pursue those things regardless of what other people think. And so having the conversation about confidence to be who I've been uniquely gifted and called to be in those places, and being able to say no to things that I don't feel called to do and be. And that's okay. Scary, but okay.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. Saying no. Yeah, for sure. Well, and for me, I think the conversation is just, for so long, for me, it was kind of all about me, right? I just focused on me and my role or my career or whatever. So the conversation for me now is, how can I use everything I've done to help others and ensure that all the experience I've gained over the years is being used properly. And so now I'm trying to think, what's my why that I'm doing what I'm doing now? And it's to help others, to help other women get kind of through some transitions faster than I did. So my internal conversation is just really have other people front of mind instead of myself, and kind of change that thinking that I had for so long.
Yeah, we could all use a dose of that for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a hard thing to do. So let me ask a follow-up to this. So for any of you, what usually interrupts or silences that conversation you have with yourself?
Well, that's a really good one, Kelly. For me, it's an external stimulus, right? Whether that be good or bad. Like if my kids interrupt me, or if the phone buzzes, or sometimes I just feel like we have so much external stimuli coming in at us. We can't even listen to what my own body is trying to tell me.
Yeah, I don't think that's any different for me. I think about what interrupts that conversation is whatever distraction pops up that day, right? Like general busyness, I think is the thing I struggle the most with, like finding that time to sit. I was at work today and one of my coworkers was like, yeah, just so you know, if you text me before 10 a.m., I won't get it because I don't pick up my phone before 10 a.m. to preserve that time. And I'm like, that's fascinating because I can't even imagine that. And yet that's so healthy, right?
Yeah. I was just going to say the same thing, busyness. I'm like, everything seems urgent, right? Or, responsibilities, outside world, like you said, Ericka. I think a lot of that, it just kind of keeps you from having those internal conversations because you get tied up with your day and you just don't take the time to have those conversations. So I agree with both of you. Good points.
Man, I spend a lot of time in my head having internal conversations, probably way more than I should. And so what interrupts the conversation that I want to be having about who am I becoming tends to be setbacks, unmet expectations, right? And so since I have these goals I'm trying to hit, and when those unmet expectations come up, then the next thing I know, I'm like, man, who am I now? That's what tends to happen. Oh, I've jacked it up today. Crud. What does that say about who I am? Am I this mess up? Am I being a good, whatever, father, businessman, coach, you name it. But that starts to creep in. And then I'm having the conversation. I'm not really who am I becoming or what in me is really coming out. Because even on those worst days, the good in me, the stuff that I want to come out, it comes out. But what happens is that thing that I didn't want to occur is what I hyper focus on. And the next thing you know, I'm like, man, I'm the worst, whatever you can think of. Why did I even get up today? Kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what interrupts the conversation I want to have. It's interrupted by another unwanted internal conversation.
Yeah.
So
that's like the brain protecting you, right? The brain always goes to the thing that protects you, the thing that's kind of the negative. The brain tends to go there. So yeah, those conversations, you really have to be purposeful to keep them positive. But we all go down that rabbit hole for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, how about, does anybody think of yourself I don't know, 3-5 years ago, and what felt urgent or important then maybe no longer carries that same weight today? Is there something, like you're talking about becoming? Is there something you've kind of become a little bit more of something now that maybe 3 years ago it was important, but it's not?
Yeah. So the goals are important as I move things forward, but they're not as important as I was making them. They don't carry the weight that I was giving them. And so what helps me with that is really realizing that, this is going to sound weird, but realizing that I'm amazing. Okay. And here's what I mean when I say that. I don't mean just that, oh, look at me, I'm the best guy ever. But I think I said it a few episodes back. Humans are amazing. Like there's so much that we're capable of, right? And that's just because we are these things called humans. We didn't make ourselves this. We just woke up one day and I'm a human, right? And so we've got these gifts and things that are all in us. And when I really begin to believe that, I go, okay, if I am that, then I start looking forward to what amazingness will occur today. I start looking forward, trying to go, okay, I'm looking at a new opportunity or problem as another chance for something good internally to come out. Okay. And so I want to live there. I wish I could say I do that a lot. I don't. And I'm really working towards, this is kind of in the new year, what conversation we're hoping to have. I want to have more of the, wow, look at what happened there. When this thing occurred, this is how that went. So, yeah, that's how I want to be able to look at that.
So what about for those of us who aren't Stuart Smalley, who look in the mirror and say,
Right.
doggone it, I'm good enough and people like me. That's just not who I am. And so if I were to look in the mirror every day and be like, I'm amazing, I would just laugh myself out of the bathroom because it's just not who and it's been one of those things. And this just hit me last week. I was in a session in a networking group, and we do a little bit of education, and there's a counselor who leads the education piece. And her statement was, talk to yourself like you talk to everybody else. And it was the first time that rah cheerleader ever became real to me. Because I'm not going to walk into another room and be like, you're amazing. Everybody's going to be like, who are you and what happened to Jason, right? But I am going to affirm the good things in you. I'll affirm the things I see in you, but it's going to be in my voice. And so I think so often we try to talk to ourselves and it's not true to who we are. And so for you, TQ, to use the word, I'm amazing. Like that's you. That's how you see people. That's how you talk to other people. But I think figuring out how do people, they're doing a great job or they're awesome human beings. And then what if I turn that same conversation inward to myself, and that voice sounds the same. And that becomes palatable to me. That becomes something I can truly internalize and move forward in.
Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. That
Yeah.
that voice that, and I think as coaches, we have this kind of, we look at people and we with encouragement and we want to help them along and with hope, and being able to turn that, however, like you said, whatever voice you have, turn that towards yourself is really important. And that's what I'm trying to work on as well. That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know I always talk to people when I'm in a session and they say something like and they say something negative about themselves. I'll say, now, would you say that to your friend? If you were looking at your friend and having the same conversation, is that how you would guide them? And I'm like, well, why can't you guide yourself like you would your best friend? Like, we're just hard on
Right.
ourselves. So that was awesome, Jason. Yeah, I think for me, 3 years ago, which seems like so long ago, but really wasn't. That's when I was all about proving myself, and, things that were important back then just aren't as important to me anymore. I don't know. I just have a different perspective. And I think as you age, maybe things just shift and your priorities shift and your perspective shifts. But before it was all about career, climbing a ladder, proving myself, all of that. And then I just gradually kind of through introspection and just looking at, where I am at this stage of life, I'm like, it just doesn't align anymore. I mean, I don't know when that happened, but just maybe slowly, it just doesn't align with who I am or who I want to be. And I feel like now I'm growing more than ever. Like, I thought I was growing and doing great, when I was at the height of my career, but really I'm growing more now. And it's because I've totally changed the way I look at things. So I think, 3 years ago for me seems like a long time ago.
I definitely second that, Kelly. When you asked that question, I mean, the first thing that came to my life was, 3 years ago, my life looked completely different. And if, the question is what carried a big weight so I think the key word here when I say it out loud is I carried the weight to heal my marriage. And that was the most important thing to me. Whereas I needed to heal, it wasn't necessarily my full responsibility to heal my marriage. That takes two people.
Right.
And just as I look back, as I was trying to work to heal myself, I was also just like so focused. Well, no, my marriage has to work. Like, we can get through this, while looking back, it takes two people to make choices. And so it's just such an interesting, you put that 3-year perspective on it. And 3 years ago, I mean, I was like diving in, doing all of the things. I was leading the healing. He was firing everybody I hired. Like, it's just so eye-opening to see when you do look back at that, just trying to look back at it in a good frame, right? And then see how far I've come from there. And two, like you said, like honoring that healing growth that I've gone through. And now I'm able to talk about it. 3 years ago, I would just be bawling trying to even talk about it.
Amazing what can happen in 3 years, right? Everybody
Ugh.
thinks, it's so far in the future, but it's amazing what you can get done and how you change your perspective. So thanks for that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Ericka, I just realized the snake is gone. I'm concerned for you. Where is the snake?
It's not gone.
Okay,
Oh my
all right.
gosh.
He was just moving around a lot, so I put him on my lap.
It's like, he is gone. Where
I
did he
thought he
go?
was-
I'm terrified. All of a sudden, I lost track of where I was 3 years ago, and I could just think about there's a missing snake on this podcast.
No missing snake, I promise you.
You didn't hear a word she said, did you, Jason? You're looking really
I was
good.
funny.
She started talking. I'm like, wait, where'd the snake go?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Not where's
goodness.
Waldo? Where'd the snake go? We got a whole game. We got a game we could do on this podcast. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
goodness.
Too funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kelly, I do think somebody asked me, I sit in a lot of meetings, I feel like lately, but we were in one and somebody's like, it was 5 years ago. That recognition. So 5 years ago, I lived in a different city. That was 2 jobs ago. My kids were at a totally different stage in life. I was still getting my master's degree. I feel like in 5 years, I'm in a different place all around. And some of that's been really good. Some of that's been really hard. But I think my realization in that is how fast time moves. We get so stuck in the failure of today or the struggle of today. And we don't look back and say, wow, this is what I've achieved, or where I've come, or who I've become in the last 3 to 5 years. And when you look at that time frame, and I'm sure that'd be true for each and every one of us, if you'd start looking at okay, what have you really done? Or how have you grown personally in your relationships, in your work, in your families? Man, it's amazing how much changes in 5 years or 3 years. You pick your time frame.
Yeah.
It was just a fascinating realization to me as I was like, so this is who I was 5 years ago. I have none of those things now.
I know. We don't take the
So-
time to look back sometimes. We're always so in our day to day and not what we don't get done or what we're not accomplishing that, looking back is such a reality check. I had a friend that texted me a couple weeks ago and she's like, and this was just unsolicited text that just said, I am just so proud. I keep seeing all the work that you're doing and it's paying off and I'm so proud of you. And I was just like, wow, I didn't see all the work I was doing because I was in it, So it took
Right.
somebody else to see it to make me actually look at it. So yeah, I think that's valuable.
And I think that's a key part of it is that it takes somebody else. I learned this lesson in Minnesota. I was the high school ministry director. She was the middle school ministry director. I get very frustrated when the ball doesn't move. At least I did. I've grown, right? We're talking about how we've grown. And she would walk in or send me an email and just say, hey, I know you're frustrated that we haven't got to where you want us to be, but have you stopped and looked at everything we did? And there was one time, I still have this email. There are 20 things, significant things that we had accomplished in the last 3 months. And she was like, have you celebrated any of that? And that realization of who do we need to walk with us? Who has the voice, who we respect enough to say, no, you need to stop and you need to look at where you've come and what you've done and who you've become in that process. I'm forever grateful for her. And then just looking now in this stage of life is who is that person who can speak those things into my life? And grateful for those who do.
Love it. So important. It's awesome. Well, how would you define a good year now, like differently than a good year in your past? We've all changed. So what makes a good year compared to before?
Besides, Jason, the snake is still okay. He's just distracting me. So I'm going to hold
All
him.
right. Fair enough. His absence distracts me. His presence distracts you. We get it.
I think there's these busy stages in our lives. And when I look back in the past, I was so busy just like doing so many things. Like, I have to get this done. I have to get this done. And so for me now, what would define a good year is the quality time that I've spent with my children, my family, and my friends. And whereas I can look back in my life and know that, like, I used to define that as the successes in my life, that's what would define a good year. So there's a big transition for me in that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think as I think about that question, Kellie and Ericka, it ties a little bit to what you just said. I want to know, at the end of 2026, who are my kids going to say I am? Was I present for the things that matter? And am I doing what I love? And if I get to the end of 2026, feel like those 3 questions really span the who I am, what do I do as a result of who I am in my life? And I'll look back at 2026 if I can say, yeah, my kids can respect who I've become and who they're becoming as a result of that. I was there, and yes, I am doing the things I love to do. That doesn't mean every day will be perfect.
Yeah. I would say that if I look over the next year, I'd want to be able to say I moved consistently without fear or worry so that I could fully become who I'm meant to be, Just when I put that word consistently, that's really important because I'm not expecting every day to look like that. But the more and more I get into it, the more and more that I move in it, that consistently free, and that's important too, free of that worry and fear to just wake up and go, okay, how are we going to face today? What's going to be in there? What's it going to look like? What am I going to get to do, whether that's hard or easy, so.
Well, to, I guess, quote a Frank Sinatra song, if I could do it my way, I think that's a good year for me, more authentic, more aligned with who I am and who I'm growing into becoming. And just, one where I hold true to my values and just don't abandon them and continue to grow. I think a good year for me, if at the end of this year, I've just consistently made progress and grown in my goals, I think that's all I can ask for. So I think that's my good year. It's the small things now. It used to be the big,
Mm.
like Ericka, you were saying, the big successes. Now it's the small things that
Yeah.
bring me joy. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, I guess now I'm going to reverse it. What matters to you now that it didn't matter to you 3 years ago? Is there something that shows up now in your choices that you never would have thought
Mm.
of 3 years ago? Or did I stump you all?
I think which is a different pace, but not necessarily. What comes to my mind is homeschooling. 3 years ago, I wasn't thinking about homeschooling my kids. And now, that definitely shows up in everyday choices. I have to get school done. And while I do think that, sure, like reading, writing, these kinds of general education, right, those have to be done consistently. While what I'm noticing more and more is how much I get to be that main influence in their lives. I'm the one who's teaching them the values and beliefs that I align with instead of the world teaching them. So that's a big difference, and it does show up every day. But yeah, it's not easy, Jason. No, some days are really, really hard. They're little humans too.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife's a professional educator, and we decided a long time ago that was never in the cards for us. Love my kids, but somebody else can educate them. I don't know if this fully answers your question, Kellie, so I'll take a stab at it. You can ask me to come back to it if you want. But I think one of the things I'm realizing, and this gets a little bit below the surface, but I prided myself in achievement at all costs. So I didn't really care if you liked me. We got the job done. We hit the goal. We hit it faster and harder and higher than anybody expected us to. And I think I've come to realize that doesn't matter near as much as how you show up for the people on your team or the people around you. And so I think in the last year in particular, I have leaned into empathy combined with curiosity about others. Whereas before I was always proud of the personality assessments that said empathy was at the bottom for me. But I think I've discovered this thing that I was just lying to myself. There's a huge part of me that enjoys sitting and being and learning and feeling what others are feeling as we walk through life together. And so it's been a huge growth point for me over the last year to 18 months. Yeah, just kind of realizing I feel a little more vulnerable. Maybe I like that. Maybe I don't. But watching this grow, I think has changed how others view me and changed how I view myself too. So it's been healthy.
I was going to go along those lines. I was going to say just what matters now is how things feel and not how they look. Before, for me, it was all about how does it look? What awards were you getting, or what successes were you having? That same kind of thing. And now I think it's more emotional energy than external validation, really. And I don't know, it shows up in small things. Like before I commit to something, I might take a pause before just saying yes, or I protect my boundaries more than before because it's more important now than before. I didn't have boundaries. I'm like, all right, you got to get it done. I'll get it done. And now it's just kind of taking time to sit back, think, is it the right energy? Is it aligned with who I want to be? And that's more, I guess, truer today than it ever was in the past.
Yeah, that's cool. For me, what I'm letting go is the constant pursuit of the goals and replacing that with a peaceful journey ahead. And so they both move forward. I think that's really important for me because I'd be kind of lost without it. But one's aggressive and tight and wound up. And the other is, like I said, more peaceful, joyful, and excited about the future.
Great. Well, at the end of the year, so let's look ahead. What would you hope to say about how you treated yourself? Especially in the moments when nobody's watching, nobody sees. What would you say for yourself?
I think I'll recycle the answer I said before. And that is, did I talk to myself like I talk to other people? Did I treat myself with the same respect I treat coworkers and friends with? And if I can say yes to that, then I'm excited about what happens in 2026.
I'm going to put a name to how I would treat myself, and I would treat myself like my wife treats me. My wife is absolutely amazing. And she is there for the ride. She's there to help. She's not condescending. She definitely comes with, she has her own mind and thoughts and things like that she throws out there, but it's always very helpful. And so I think in this last year of transition for me, seeing that come out is really good. And if I could treat myself the way my wife treats me, I'd be doing really well.
Nice. That's nice. I hope she listens to this podcast and hears that.
Right? Yes.
How about you, Ericka?
And yeah, for me, if I'm going to look back and see how I've treated myself, I want to just be respectful in how I've grown, especially when nobody's watching, and how I've just continued to change and keep learning. And because that's when it happens, right? When nobody is watching, it happens in the dark moments. And it's just like, sometimes we can even have these aha moments when nobody's watching, and just that continued growth.
Awesome. Yeah, and I would say I want to treat myself with forgiveness of making mistakes, of learning things slowly, and just, give myself the permission to learn new things and take my time and do it right. And if I mess something up, so what? Nobody knows but me. So it's all about kind of forgiving for the things I don't know and learning and hopefully growing by the end of the year. Well, let me throw out a little thought here for our listeners. So I just want to encourage you, as you move through the year, to pay attention to the conversations you keep returning to. They often reveal more truth than any resolution, New Year's resolution ever would. So just pay attention to some of those thoughts that you keep having. So if today's conversation hit anything for you, if you're feeling stuck or burnout or tired, you don't have to navigate it alone. I'm just going to give a simple reminder of what all the coaches here today are all about. Ericka helps in supporting women through life's most challenging issues like relationship struggles and trauma or loss. Jason, he helps unleash potential and ignite passion and awaken purpose for individuals and corporations. And then TQ helps entrepreneurs and creators and innovators overcome self-doubt and move forward confidently. And then I help women that are experiencing, corporate or professional burnout to just make a mindful transition to their what's next. So feel free to DM us if you're hearing things that, you want to hear about more. Share our podcast with your friends and family or colleagues or anyone you think would benefit. Reach out to one of us if you need support in any of these areas, because we're always here to help. So with that, any closing thoughts from any of our coaches you want to throw out there?
It's going to be a good year, y'all. It's going to be a good year.
Yeah. All positive.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what's true at the end of 2026.
And I'll still have this guy. Don't worry, he's not lost. He's still here.
And if you don't see Ericka on the next episode, I would be questioning.
Y'all know why.
Yes. Well, thank you all for listening, and we look forward to connecting with you on our next episode of Beyond the Questions. Goodbye, everybody. See ya.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Questions. Be sure to subscribe so that you can stay up to date concerning future episodes. And if you would like to connect with any of the hosts on Beyond the Questions, their contact info is linked in the description below. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next episode of Beyond the Questions.